Welcome to part 5 of my Vineyard Parables series, and we call this one, Is Your Eye Evil? Because I'm Good. And I will be going from the book of Matthew, chapter 20. For the kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is a householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. And they went out about the third hour, and saw others standing idle in the marketplace, and said unto them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatever's right I will give you. And they went their way. Again he went out about the 6th and the 9th, and did likewise. And about the 11th hour he went out, and found others standing idle, and said unto them, Why do you stand here all day idle? And they say unto him, Because no man hath hired us. He saith unto them, You go also into the vineyard, and whatever is right, that shall you receive. So when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard said unto his steward, Call the laborers, and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. And when they came that were hired about the 11th hour, they received every man a penny. But when the first came, they supposed that they should have received more, and they likewise received every man a penny. And when they had received it, they murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and you have made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. But he answered one of them, and said, Friend, I do you no wrong. Didn't you agree with me for a penny? Take what is yours, and go your way. I'll give unto this last, even as unto thee. Is it not lawful for me to do what I will with my own? Is your eye evil, because I'm good? So the last shall be first, and the first last, for many shall be called, but few chosen. Matthew 20, 1 through 16. In this variation of the vineyard parable, Jesus looks at the question of privilege and reward. Who is allowed to work in the vineyard? What is the basis for final reward? The Lord of the vineyard sets out to hire laborers to work in his vineyard. Early in the morning, he set out to hire them for a fair wage, the standard payment of a laborer for a day's work. The law of Moses anticipated in Israel 4 economic classes of laborers. There were landowners and their families. There were servants, some of whom were bonded and made part of the family. There were hired freemen who contracted themselves out and lived on a wage. And finally, there were foreigners who made their home among the Israelites. These laborers were to be paid at the end of the day, which lasted from sunup to sundown. As it is written in the law of Moses, do not take advantage of a hired man who is poor and needy, whether he is a brother Israelite or an alien living in one of your own towns. Pay him his wages each day before sunset, because he's poor and counting on it. Otherwise he may cry to the Lord against you, and you will be guilty of sin. Deuteronomy 24, 14 through 15. The master went to the gathering place in the market after 3 hours to hire more laborers. Again he went there the 6th and the 9th hour, hiring laborers at each stop. Finally he went out at the 11th hour to hire the few disappointed and dejected workers who had been passed over all day long. They too would be employed, but for 1 hour. But it was better than nothing. Finally, as the sun descended, the laborers lined up for their pay, the last employed in the front of the line. When they received a full day's wage for 1 hour's work, they were stunned. So also were the others who had worked 3, 6, 9, and even 12 hours. Surely we will be overpaid as well, since he overpaid those who only worked 1 hour, they thought. But to each, the master gave a full day's wage. To the ones who worked 3, 6, and 9 hours, and finally to the ones who worked 12 long, hot hours. The longer working employees murmured at the master, You made those equal to us, but we worked all day. But the Lord of the vineyard retorted, I have done you no wrong. Take what you've rightly earned. Didn't we agree as much? Can I not do with my own whatever I want? Is your eye evil because I'm good? This is a parable that has long vexed me, and of course, everything in the Bible that utterly strikes you as wrong is exposing an area of God's dealing with your soul. He would change our paradigm, our way of looking at everything, through these difficult passages, jarring us out of our long, deeply held misconceptions. I couldn't see the fairness in this, and it offended me like those workers. I sympathized with the 12-hour crew. But then one day it occurred to me, now why would the master go out to the marketplace to hire some unfortunates 1 hour before closing? He certainly didn't hire them at the last hour on the basis of his needing them. He hired them because they needed him. They needed work, any work, and the master, being good and flowing in mercy and grace, went back to the marketplace to pick up a few more desperately needy men to employ. The emphasis of this telling of the vineyard tale is the grace of God. God did not need us, but we need him, and he sought us out and saved us out of sheer mercy and loving kindness. And the basis of the reward is grace also. If I want to give them this wage, what is that to you? Now, why did God choose a sinner like me and forgive me of the vast multitude of my trespasses at such a great cost? Is there any reason that I can cite other than the sheer grace of God? We don't deserve our rewards. They're the gift of God, given in love and tender mercy. We're amazed, we're stunned, we're shocked by the grace God has given us. If anyone is scandalized by this mercy, it's an indication of a heart estranged from God. Is your eye evil because I'm good? The moral of this story is this: no one gets any less than what they deserve, for God is a just and righteous God. But some of us get more than what we deserve, because God has made a way through the substitution of his Son to justify ungodly sinners, to forgive them, employ them, and grant them privileges that they never could have dreamed, let alone earned. Thank you, and God's grace be with you. Amen.